everyone, I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Brandon. And we're
the
Wagners.
We're a husband-wife duo who travel all around the country since 2021 for Brandon's travel nursing job.
We love hiking, car camping, new cities, and of course, the best food and drink. Along with adventure, we always look for ways to keep our travel budget-friendly.
So pack your bags and join us as we wander together.
Hey Wanderers! Welcome back to our channel, Wandering with the Wagners. Thank you so much for tuning in for another Travel Tip Tuesday. I know these videos aren't quite as exciting as the Wandering Wednesdays, but they are practical, as if we want to have seamless trips, we have to learn budgeting, planning, things like that. So last week we talked about budgeting, so this week we are going to take all of that budgeted money and we are going to plan your dream vacation. Let's go! So if you've been following along chronologically on our page, you know that we just wrapped up the Wandering Wednesdays for the Euro series. So I was going to make this video Europe-centered, and then I realized these concepts really apply to anywhere you're going, whether you're doing a multi-site vacation or if you're just staying in one spot. We'll just go over the basics, and then obviously for multi-step, you'll have to repeat some processes or focus more on different things. But whether you're doing a long weekend in driving distance or a 10-day abroad vacation, this will give you the basics on how to plan. So of course, when we are traveling, we need to kind of plan for the unexpected. Things always arise and don't always go how you want them to. But having a well-planned trip and itinerary can hopefully minimize those effects that cost you time and money. So these are mainly just tips to be organized, be prepared, but it will help you a lot when you're executing that awesome vacation. So very first things first, we need to decide where you want to go. So chances are if you're watching this video, you have already decided a location. If you haven't, I would strongly encourage you to check out our budgeting video. We use a great tool on there called budgetyourtrip.com, which will show you the prices for different locations around the world. So if you haven't decided where you want to go yet, go watch that budgeting video and then come back to us. But we're going to move on for when you already have your destination picked out. So step 2, after you've decided where you want to go, is research. So one of the very best parts about travel is experiencing new things. So when you're going somewhere new, you'll definitely want to research all of the different things that that area has to offer that maybe anywhere else doesn't, or it does the absolute best. So maybe that would be food in Paris or art in Italy, those types of things. Do a lot of research to see what people are doing in that area, what looks fun in that area, and what that place does like no other place does. And start taking notes. So honestly, whenever I'm looking up places to do, I go right to where you guys already are, YouTube. I just type in the destination of where I want to go. I look up the things that look fun to me, and then I just write them down as I go, just keeping little notes of things that are interesting to me, things I might want to check out. And remember, this is your vacation. So even if like the top thing to do there isn't something that is particularly exciting to you, but there are other things there that are interesting to you, of course, just plan around doing those activities. This is your vacation, so everything you do is up to you, is totally customizable to your experiences and what you want out of this vacation. Also, if you're going to a new country, it's really beneficial to look up etiquette and culture videos for that area. That way you're just prepared for those culture differences, and you probably know here on Wandering with the Wagners, we are always about being responsible and respectful guests and tourists everywhere that we go, and making sure we're not being rude and unaccepting of other lifestyles, other cultures, other experiences. So just being prepared for what you might find so that you can fit in with the culture very well. Okay, so once you know where you want to go and what you want to do there, we can start booking things. So we're going to put this into 3 major categories, and that would be lodging, transportation, and activities and excursions. Let's start with lodging. So this is something that I talked about in the budgeting video, and it also goes along with activities, but we're going to throw it into lodging. So you have to decide what kind of vacation you want to have. And what I mean by that is, are you the type of person who likes to go to an all-inclusive resort and have everything taken care of for you so you don't have to lift a finger? Or do you like kind of more rugged, figure it out on your own type vacations? So if you've been following along with us for a while, you know that we're a lot more rugged, let's just figure it out what we're doing kind of things. We have done the all-inclusive routes, but I just don't think it's for us. If it is for you, obviously that's awesome. Remember, this is your vacation. You can do whatever you'd like. But this will be more for people who are not going all-inclusive routes, because when you do all-inclusive, it's very nice because you have everything taken care of for you. You have your food, you have your activities. But if you're doing it by yourself, it can seem a little more intimidating. So you really just have to think about what sort of amenities are going to be the best for you. What can you go without? Are you willing to spend more on a hotel if it has food taken care of for you? Are you not want to spend anything at all? Or do you want to be further out from the city, save money? Or do you want to be right in the hub of things and spend more money? The only add-on that we included for some of our hotels was for breakfast, because we figured if we didn't eat it at the hotel, we'd just go out and buy it anyway, and it would be more expensive. So the only amenity that we really looked for was free breakfast, well, added on breakfast, sometimes free, sometimes not. And then that's pretty much it. We just wanted a place to sleep. Didn't really care about how nice or fancy it was. We pretty much went to bed, woke up, ate breakfast, and left. So just think about your priorities when you're booking your hotel and how much you're willing to spend for more, or how much you want to save by getting less amenities. So next, let's talk about transportation. Obviously, this is a twofold one. There is the transportation to get to where you're trying to get to, and then the transportation once you are there. So if you're going somewhere within driving distance and you can have your car with you the whole time, that's obviously the most affordable option. But if you're flying somewhere, you don't really have the option to bring your car along with you, and you might have to consider public transportation or renting a car. So I can tell you from experience that Europe, you do not need to rent a car. The public transit is awesome. You can take trains, buses. You will have no issues getting around in Europe. And I haven't been other places, but I've been told by some of you guys on the channel that other continents and cities have great transportation, like Australia and Tokyo. So I can't really speak to other countries or other continents, but I know Europe is very good transportation, and I know that the United States does not. So sadly, if you are one of our international friends and you are thinking about coming to the United States, if you're coming to a major city like New York City or Los Angeles, New York, the transportation is okay. Well, it's the best that we have here, so, you know. And then Los Angeles and like Seattle, they have public transit, but it still might be easier for you to rent a car. However, if you're going to really rural places like Texas, or even if you're going to check out some national parks like the Grand Canyon, I would strongly suggest that you get a rental car. But either way, this will go into the research that you're doing as well. Research the different transit options that are available in that area. Like if you looked in Arizona in the United States, you would find that there's really not much there. But if you're going to New York, you'd find there's subways, trains, buses, everything. So just look at what the public transit options are, where you want to go, and if that will be feasible for you, or if you'll need to plan other cars or anything like that. So chances are, if you're doing a multi-site vacation, you will need to book transportation from one place to another. So obviously a lot of public transportation you don't need to book in advance. You can just show up and hop on. But for bigger trips, like between different countries, you will need a reservation for a train or a bus or a plane, obviously. So just finding out what is available there. So if you are doing multi-site, just Google the different ways to get there, and it will give you the different options between planes, trains, everything like that. And then normally you can just book right online for that. So if you are doing a reserved mode of transportation, just make sure that you are writing down where you're going to pick it up, your train information, your plane information, and then also that you know how to access your ticket. Okay, so once you know your lodging, your transportation, it's time that you can start doing activities. So again, if you're doing the all-inclusive route, a lot of them will have like catalogs of different excursions you can add on. But if you're doing things by yourself, this will be more helpful for you. So from your research, you should be able to know all of the best things to do in that area, the best attractions, the best food, the most iconic landmarks, everything that you want to do and see will come from that research that you did. So when you have a little list of the things you're most excited to do, you can start booking them. Most things these days you can book in advance online, and if you have the option, I would highly, highly recommend booking things online before you get there, because you definitely don't want to show up being excited for something and then not being able to get a ticket because it's sold out. So as soon as you are ready to start committing to things, you can start booking your excursions and having everything ready to go. So when you show up, you have your spot. Hopefully you can avoid some lines, and then you can just get right into your activity. So of course the balance of things can be a little tricky, like how much you want to relax and how much you want to do. Again, this is obviously up to you. We like to stay really busy on vacation, so I think like most days we booked like at least one timed thing, and then the rest of the day that we would just have to fill with whatever else we wanted to do. And this is another area where your research will come in handy, because not only will you start booking the main attractions, but you can even use your research and all of the other activities as like filler activities. So like for those things where you have more time in the day, you don't have anywhere to be, but you still want to be out in the city and exploring, you can check out your list to see those other fun things that don't need a reservation that you could just show up and do. Obviously, do what you want to do on your vacation, but I would highly recommend trying some new experiences, maybe some new foods, something that scares you a little bit. Traveling is really such a great way to open yourself up to other new experiences, other cultures. So I would definitely encourage you to get out of your comfort zone just a little bit and explore something new.
Okay, so now let's put it all together. So I am going to open up my spreadsheet, and this was like our lifeline for our whole trip. So you see, I have different categories here. I have the date, the city, the transportation, what we're going to do, the lodging. So if you're just doing a one site vacation, you won't need all of these, but you will basically need just the transportation and the activities and the dates. So if you're doing, this is more for if you are doing lots of things and it's hard to keep track of everything, but as simple or as basic as your trip is, you can still do this. So we see here is where I have, this was like my research of everything that I did. So I have the places up at the top. I have the dates we're going to be there, the lodging we ended up going with. I had different options in here, but then once we chose one, I just, only put the one we were going to. And then these are the activities. So these are what I call the filler ideas. So these are the things that like you don't need a reservation for. They're just things like, if you have time, you might want to check them out. So like we went biking around Vondel Park, and we went to the market, things like that. Some of these things like you might need to pay admission for. They might not be totally free, but they're okay for you to just like, walk up and do. You don't have to do it in advance. So I also wrote down the key food and drinks of each place, things that we should try while we were there. And then I have promised I have another document of culture and etiquette in these other countries. This was the only one I wrote it on here. I promise I did more research than this. So these are the things that, you can fill in them later as you go. But as soon as you book things, that is when you want to put it on this Excel sheet. So, and that goes for anything, like for your hotel, for a flight, for a train ride, for your activities. So I tried to make this very easy for myself, and I tried to think of where would I wake up that morning and where would I be going to sleep. So we see, I have departing from SFO, and then, for the night I would be on the plane. And then the next day I'd be in Amsterdam and I'd be there. And then there's the day where I traveled from Amsterdam to Paris. So then I would be asleep here in Paris. So that just helped me. I'm a very visual learner, so this just helped me be able to keep track of everything. So this spreadsheet was really our lifeline. It was really our plan for the day. So, not every day was a travel day. So some day it was just the city that we were in. And then we had the different places that we would go and our different excursions that we had. So we had, this day we had the museum at 11, food tour at 5:30. So this really helps us keep track of everything.
So honestly, I know I talked about them in the order of lodging, transportation, and activities, but you can really book these in any order that you want. We actually kind of went backwards. So we started with our activities, and then we were able to get our trains based off of, where most of our activities were, meaning like most of them were in like the center of town. And then we actually booked our hotels closest to the train stops and things like that, so we wouldn't have long rides to get there. So you can plan these in any order you want. Just make sure as soon as you book something, you are putting it on that spreadsheet so that you don't accidentally double book, think you have no plans for that day, but then you do. So just make sure as soon as you know what you are doing, the time, the location, you write it down so you don't forget. So if you have this little reference sheet filled out, you are pretty much set for a great vacation. So I know that the idea of planning a huge vacation, especially a multi-site vacation on your own, can seem really daunting. But honestly, if you just work through it one by one and write everything down and you're well researched, it's pretty easy. Book whatever you can ahead of time so you're always set for a great itinerary. Write everything down and then make sure you have some additional filler activities for some extra time. And it really is that easy. So leave us a comment below if you have any questions or if you have any other tips that you implement while planning your vacations. We would love to hear them. So I want this to be as easy as possible for you guys, so please let me know of any questions you have. Also, I've been trying to plug our Instagram more. It's very small right now, but you can follow us on Instagram at wanderingwiththewagners1020, and we mainly just post different locations that we've been and maybe a little bit of practical information. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for being a subscriber on our page. We love traveling with you guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do that. And then we will see you guys next week. I think we're going to do another Travel Tip Tuesday. So I will see you probably for the last one, and then we'll probably jump back into more Wandering Wednesdays. And I think we're going to be back in the United States. So I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.